Hey everyone, this is Vincent from Lumera Protocol. Just starting off the AMA. I'm going to give everybody a couple more minutes to join before we kick things off. Alrighty, it seems like a lot more people are joining. I'm sure more and more people are going to trickle in as this AMA goes on. Going to give an introduction. My name is Vincent. I am leading growth at Lumera Protocol. Today, here with me, we have Anthony, one of the co-founders of Lumera Protocol. And we're going to start off, giving a high-level introduction as to, what we're building, and then from there we'll go straight into the questions that you guys will have. So, if you want to give yourself a quick introduction, Anthony.
Hey guys, very exciting times. Pumped to have everyone here. Obviously, we have a lot going on in the world of Lumera, and looking forward to diving into it today.
Awesome. So, for those of you, who are, joining us for the first time, not really sure what we're, building at Lumera Protocol, I just kind of wanted to give everybody a quick, rundown as to, what exactly we're building. And so at Lumera Protocol, we're really focused on the infrastructure aspects of Web3. So we are leveraging the Cosmos SDK, and from there we are building several modules, which is going to service the general Web3 in different ways. So we have three main modules right now. The first being the Cascade module, and then we also have the Sense module, and then lastly we also have um, the Inference module. And starting off with the Cascade module, all of these work in synergy, right? But first and foremost, our Cascade module is very much focused on decentralized permanent storage. So you can think of this very much as a competitor to both IPFS and Arweave in that way, making sure that users will have permanent uptime on the files that they store on our network and very high levels of retrievability, and then as well as making sure that because of our redundancies that we built in, the self-healing properties and all of that, your files will never be lost in that way. Beyond that, we have our Sense module, which is basically assessing relative rareness of image assets and also determining, whether content is considered AI generated or not, especially in this day and age when more and more content is being generated by AI, right? As we see all these new models coming out, they're becoming much more, harder to detect. It oftentimes, tricks a lot of humans in terms of making them believe that this is real, real generated content as opposed to just AI generated content. And Sense is able to help battle and combat against all of that. And lastly, we have Inference module, which is more of the general AI layer, allowing people to access all sorts of models, whether they're censored, uncensored, as well as newly created models that are being hosted on Lumera Protocol as well. And so all of these services, we've designed it so that builders and users can easily access through open APIs, right? So you can essentially pick and choose exactly what services you would like to have in your applications or services that you're building. And we are very much focused on also providing a marketplace for researchers, builders to host their newly created AI models on our network as well. And obviously, by you hosting your AI models and things like that, you know, whenever users in the community are utilizing said models, of course, the owner of those models would definitely get rewarded for that as well. And so, everything that we built, we're very excited to, spread towards the community. We're receiving a lot of support, ever since we, announced our testnet. There has been an insane amount of validators. I'm sure a lot of you have interacted with me directly. Um, and I'm really appreciative of all of your patience. It's just myself handling basically close to 200 validators that are very interested in supporting us in our testnet. And I am going through the process of working on getting people delegations and things like that. So again, once I just really want to appreciate everybody for their patience in that way, and as well as the crazy amount of support that these validators are giving us, whether they're creating faucets for us or even creating small, game applications to, get the community engaged and excited. we see all the work that you guys are, contributing to our community as well.
Exactly. Exactly. I want to spend a little bit of time talking through the technical foundation and really kind of pivoting off of Vincent, what you were talking through with respect to both the validator set and then really diving into what makes Lumera very differentiated, which is obviously a lot of it has to do with the supernode set as well. So just at a high level, Lumera is a sovereign layer one blockchain. As Vincent mentioned, it's built on the Cosmos SDK. This gives us tremendous flexibility to really customize the chain for our needs and to really natively interoperate with other ecosystems through both IBC as well as the Cosmos Hub. But Lumera is a lot more than just another proof of stake chain. It's a full infrastructure stack that's really been purpose built, just as Pastel was from day one, to power AI and storage across the Web3 landscape. So really, here's how the stack looks from bottoms up. And at the core, the layer one piece is really the consensus layer, in which we use Comet BFT or Tendermint with supernodes. This provides both proof of stake security and activates supernodes to perform actual work. And we'll speak a little bit more on supernodes and proof of service in a minute here. The second layer is really the execution layer, really the Lumera Protocol engine. This is where you can run smart contracts, APIs, develop module extensions to power things like Cascade and Inference and whatnot. And this is really where the core protocol lives. The third layer is that true service layer. The modules exist here. Now, this is what Vincent was just touching on: Cascade, Inference, Sense. And this is where the real differentiation happens. Services running on chain empowered directly by supernodes. Almost think about supernodes somewhat akin to a layer two service provider that really sits on top of the existing core Lumera protocol itself. And then obviously the fourth is really the use case layer: dApps, AI agents, marketplaces, et cetera, applications that consume storage, applications that consume compute for artificial intelligence, verification services, whatever it might be. And so that's really the high level picture of what the Lumera protocol stack looks like. And as you guys can tell, it's not just another proof of stake chain that lives on Cosmos. It's a highly differentiated, well thought out stack that provides and powers a lot of those services and infrastructure offerings that we talked through. So really, what are supernodes? Supernodes are the real unlock for Lumera. They transform traditional validators into active infrastructure operators. They do things that most validators on other chains cannot do because they're highly provisioned for state, computation, storage, etc. Supernodes run AI and LLM workloads. Supernodes store and monitor sharded data via our Cascade protocol. Supernodes also perform real-time content verification. And supernodes, of course, via proof of service, ensure the continuity of all of the infrastructure and service offerings that we've developed. In other words, supernodes don't just stake tokens and rewards, they power an actual service economy on chain. In order to operate a supernode, and this is a really key point, particularly with the given demand of validators on the network. Right now, if you look at most Cosmos based or proof of stake or delegated proof of stake based networks, there's typically a limited quantity of validators that can join the active set. In the case of Lumera, that's the same as well. However, there is no cap in the number of supernodes that can power the network. So in order to run a supernode, you must first obviously have an active and valid validator. It does not, though, and this is key, necessarily need to be part of the active set. This is what really sets it apart from a lot of other networks. So while we might have an active validator set of 50, there can be an infinite number of active validators who just simply don't make the active set itself, who enable the supernode module. And by doing so, they will still generate meaningful protocol revenue in the form of transaction fees and proof of service fees by powering these actual services and these actual on chain economies. They earn the rewards from proof of service, meaning that as more AI compute or as more storage activity happens on Lumera, supernodes directly monetize that demand. So, how do supernodes really power these modules? How do they really enable the core modules of Lumera? Just to dive into a little bit of the more technical pieces here. Let's take Cascade, the decentralized storage protocol. Files are uploaded to the network in which they're chunked, redundantly copied, and sharded, and then distributed across every supernode on the network. Supernodes store shards redundantly and continuously monitor them. When a file is requested, supernodes reconstruct and serve it back to the network instantly. There's no reliance on centralized nodes, no reliance on pinning. Data permanence is entirely guaranteed. In the case of Inference, our AI compute layer, supernodes obviously run an exhaustive amount of compute GPU power. They can run localized LLMs, they can run localized AI models. Developers can come and deploy models to the network. They can call existing models via an API. Supernodes then process inference requests, return results, and get paid in Loom. This enables fully decentralized AI services. You don't have to rely on OpenAI, you don't have to rely on AWS or centralized infrastructure. So this architecture overall, as a sovereign L1 with active service modules powered by a decentralized set of supernodes is fundamentally different from just a generic storage protocol or just another proof of stake chain, or even really a layer 2 compute system. It gives Lumera full control over the economic model. There's native fee capture from real world services, and there's deep composability across ecosystems, whether those are other IBC chains within the Cosmos ecosystem, whether that's Ethereum, whether that's Solana, and so on. And there's tremendous ability to scale with both AI and Web3. As the demand for both continue, that'll drive native demand for our on-chain services. So in short, we've designed Lumera not just as a blockchain, but as really intelligent infrastructure, a really intelligent layer for the future of the AI-driven web. Supernodes are the engine that makes that possible. They secure the network while powering real services that developers, users, and enterprises actually need. And that's really a key and perhaps the most important piece of differentiation and why we believe Lumera is going to be the backbone of really the next wave of decentralized app. Vincent, is there anything else you want to add to that piece with respect to proof of service versus proof of stake?
No, I think you covered it perfectly, actually. I don't know if I could have said it any better. But yeah, it's just, we're, in the process of, making sure that a lot of our, interested validators are also aware of this. I'm also in the process of, reaching out to all of you. I know, a lot of you are waiting for my messages. It's just a lot that I'm managing at this moment. And again, I really, really appreciate everybody's patience. I see a bunch of you in the Twitter space right now. So, thank you once again. Um, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to, kick things off in terms of, questions from the community. And then, we'll kind of go from there. So I'm going to please either, raise your hand or, write out your questions, and then we'll pick them as they come. So if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. We'll get you up here speaking. If you're a little bit shy, that's okay. You know, we'll look at these messages as they come. Okay, I see one, Mocha Crypto. If you can create a ticket on Discord, and then we'll get our team to get back to you on that issue that you're having with the wallet. I see another question. CoinSport. Yes. So I know a lot of people are waiting for delegations in the testnet, as I was mentioning earlier in the Twitter space. Very much, aligning everybody to make sure, we're working on, who we need to delegate to. And then also, getting more and more validators onboarded into the supernode aspect of things. As we've mentioned earlier in this Twitter space, unfortunately, there is a very limited amount of, validators that can be in the active set. But nonetheless, you can still participate and contribute to the Lumera protocol by being a supernode on our network as well. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, how to swap in Osmosis. So yes, we are also working on that. That needs to be set up within the testnet. Our developers are a little bit backlogged at the moment, but it is definitely on our roadmap and priorities to get that done as well. Can you tell me more detail about rewards for non-active validators? Yeah, so as Anthony mentioned earlier in the Twitter space, for those who are running supernodes, it's the proof of service. So as people are utilizing the different services, whether it's Cascade, Sense, Inference on our networks, there are transaction fees associated with utilizing those services. And right now, it is set up where it's the supernodes would get 98% of those transaction fees, and then 2% would be going back to the foundation, where we would then use those, the 2% to basically fund and sponsor different projects that are building on Lumera or wanting to utilize Lumera in different ways within their own projects, and as well as also contributing back to the community as well through events and things like that and marketing initiatives. Again, if you have questions and you want to come up and speak, just raise your hand and I'll get you in. But I also understand a lot of people are a little bit shy, so
Yeah, I'm going to spend a minute talking through kind of the general roadmap and the timeline. So obviously later this evening, the final snapshot of the Pastel network takes place, in which case, we will be ready to, proceed with the launching of the Lumera Protocol, which we anticipate will be in the coming weeks, or months via mainnet. So really our first, key milestone, which we're targeting later this month or early July, is the mainnet launch of the Lumera Protocol, in which will, subsequently thereafter be focused on both wallet integrations, Kepler, Multisig, etc., as well as tapping into the decentralized finance market across osmosis and a variety of other decentralized liquidity offerings. We'll also be really pushing and targeting a number of centralized exchange listings. We've sought cooperation with a handful of prominent exchanges already, and we're excited to continue to see how that progresses. Shortly post mainnet launch and the TGE. Thereafter, we will activate the Cascade module rollout on mainnet. It's currently live on testnet. It's continuing to operate in a high-performant function and fashion. And so really that's the key second milestone coming after the mainnet launch. By late summer, early fall, we're targeting integrations of really having 8 chains and 10 dApps underway, as well as surpassing around $1 million of annualized protocol revenue generated via the Cascade module. By the end of Q3, the Sense and Inference modules will also be fully activated on mainnet. And we're targeting to then onboard 12 partners for both of these modules, respectively, by the end of the year. We believe that this will allow us to achieve around 2.5 million in protocol revenue across, obviously, our various module sets by the end of the year and into early Q1 of 2026. Obviously, into 2026 and beyond, the concept is simple. If you think about, obviously, how this network operates, Lumera integrates with a variety of different partners, IBC chains, other ecosystems, dApps, etc. We onboard end users in that respect. These partners process transactions on the network. Uh, Higher transaction throughput drives higher protocol revenue. Obviously, higher protocol revenue equates to both rewards that accrue back to supernode operators, as well as via proof of burn, which is a deflationary mechanic which supports the long-term stability of the Loom token itself. Lumera, in this respect, is a highly scalable API model that drives recurring revenue. And as partners become more entrenched, transactions increased, more revenue is generated, and so on and so on. There's a very strong, flywheel effect here, where more data really equals more customers. As we onboard partners, Lumera captures data via transactions on chain, and the data enriches and strengthens the underlying products. It allows us to refine the various modules we mentioned, whether that's data storage, compute, various LLM services, and so on. And as those products become more enriched, more partners desire to leverage our products, which leads to onboarding more partners, and so on and so on.
Okay, we have a couple more questions from CJ World. Does Lumera plan to go multi-chain? With regards to that, as we kind of discussed earlier in the Twitter space, all of these services can be integrated into any kind of ecosystem. Whether it's the EVM ecosystem, whether it's Solana, Polkadot, whatever the case may be. And all of this can be accessed through, open APIs in that way. I guess with regards to, interoperability in terms of tokens from going from one ecosystem to the other, we're definitely going to be leveraging the, IBC in that way to, get tokens from, one ecosystem to another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another one, CoinSport created a simple diagram to better understand the Lumera protocol stack. Can you confirm this structure correctly represent the three layers? The stack is, I can give you a more like a flushed out stack and send it to you, but it's it's almost there. I would say like there's more of like five layers. So like the first one, being IBC Cosmos ecosystem, and then on top of that is the Comet BFT supernodes, and then above that would be Lumera Protocol into the Lumera modules, which is Cascade, Inference, Sense, and then on top of that finally would be the use cases and applications and things like that. So yeah, I can give you I could send you a diagram that would more accurately represent that.
Mm-hmm.
AstroStake, currently operating Lumera Faucet service, distributing tokens from my validator. Uh, Possible to. Yes, we can definitely contribute to your faucet for token supply as well. I'll get back to you. Thank you for setting up the faucet, though. I really appreciate that. Are there any more questions? Sorry. Gohan Mola. Official statements are required. Please announce everything that's done. Yes, we are, rolling those out as we go. There's a lot of, for example, like the faucet list. We're definitely going to get that out to the community so that everybody knows where they can, get Lumera testnet tokens and, participate in our testnet. It's just there's always kind of like one or two more faucets that are being, created by our community, and I just want to make sure we have like that list before it's sent out. But yes, there are going to be more and more announcements in the coming weeks for sure.
Excellent.
I don't think there's any more questions. I think
Well, I think
that's
at
all
that
for now.
point, we can wrap it up from here. Really, thank you again, everyone, for listening in today. We're incredibly excited about what we're building with Lumera, really bringing real AI and data infrastructure on chain in a way that's scalable, secure, open to everyone, in a fully decentralized and permissionless manner. If you're building in the space, if you're developing in the space, and you want to get involved, we definitely would love to connect, whether as a validator, as a partner, or just really as a community member and user. Really appreciate everyone's time and looking forward to what's ahead. Definitely stay tuned to our Twitter and definitely join us on Discord to stay up to date in real time on all of the latest and greatest updates that we're working on.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for everybody, taking time out of their day to join this AMA. We're really excited on the things that are up and coming, Um, and yeah, so if you have any further questions or anything you need help with, please, create a ticket on our Discord. We're definitely going to get back to you. And thank you everybody for joining. See you in the next one. Take care.